Hi everyone, welcome back to another class with the Anderson Language Center. I'm Bethany Anderson and it's really great to have you here. So this is a recorded class. I'm not live today, but just remember that every 2 weeks I do have a live class, and then every 2 weeks it's a recorded class. So once again, on Wednesdays is when you can find the newest video. And we have been talking about questions. You may have already watched some of the previous videos from the series about questions. So this is the 4th part in our series about questions. So we've talked for 2 weeks about yes/no questions. Okay, so you remember that yes/no questions use do or does or did often, and sometimes they will use be or can or will or a few other words for making a question more polite. For example, would, should, could. Okay, those are yes/no questions. So if you have not watched those videos yet or seen those classes yet, you can always find the previous videos available at andersonlanguage.com, the website, or also on Facebook, Anderson Language, the Facebook page. So either one of those places you can always watch all of the previous video classes. So last week we were talking about WH questions. Okay, so WH questions are not yes or no questions. Okay, they cannot be answered with yes or no. They have a different answer. Lots of different answers to WH questions. So just to review, last week we talked about the first 3 WH question words, which are who, which is quién, who, what, qué, and where. Who, what, where. Where being donde. Okay, so who, what, where. So the class last week, hopefully you remember and were able to practice those 3 words. Who, for example, who is your daughter's teacher? And you hear that we're using who is. Okay, so after that WH question word, you're going to follow that with one of the words we talked about in the first 2 lessons. Maybe do, be, can, or any of those words that we talked about with yes/no questions. Okay, so the first word is going to be the WH question, like who, and then the second word in the question will be one of those words, be, do, can, etc. Okay, so who is your daughter's teacher? Okay, that's an example. What, we could say, what is your favorite color? Okay, what is? Okay, and where do you like to go to eat, for example? Okay, do you hear how we start with where and then the second word is going to be do, where do. Okay, so in these questions you're still going to need those words that we talked about, do, be, can, etc. It's just that they're going to be the second word instead of the first word in the question. Okay, so today we're going to pick up the class and talk about the next 3 WH question words. Okay, and we will start with when. Okay, cuando, when. So let me give you a few examples of questions with when. When is your birthday? Okay, you've probably heard this. When is your birthday? When is your son's birthday? When is your daughter's birthday? When is your husband's birthday? So you hear at the beginning when, cuando, and then the next word is. Remember, that's from be. Okay, so first word, WH question word, and second word, be. Okay, we always need to combine a WH question word with one of those other words that we learned in the first 2 weeks. Okay, here's another example. When does your daughter start school? Okay, does, from do. When does your daughter start school? Or when do you start work? Okay, when does, when do. Okay, first word, WH question word, second word, does or do. And another example, when can you start? Sometimes in a job interview they might ask you, when can you start work? When can you start? Okay, so there's that can. Remember, can. So when can you start? Okay, so that's when. Cuando. And to practice, maybe you can think of 1 or 2 other examples of when. Okay, think about different words that you could use. When is, when are, when do, when does, when can, when could. Okay, any of those words that we talked about in the first 2 weeks of this series, you can use after when. Okay, so maybe practice making a few sentences with when. Okay, the next word, WH question word, is why. Okay, why, por qué. So why, like small children always ask this question, why, mommy, why, right? You hear this all the time. Okay, so why is the first word. The second word, here are some examples. Why are you late today? Okay, your boss or your supervisor might ask you, why are you late today? Or why were you late today? Right? Were, the past tense, el pasado de be, right? Remember that be is am, is, are en tiempo presente, and was, were en tiempo pasado. Okay. Another example, why is she mad? Okay, or why is she angry? Or why is she sad? Why is he frustrated? Okay, any of those emotion words. Why is, or why are. Why are you mad? Okay. And another example. Why do they always play their music so loud? Why do? Okay, so you're hearing this pattern again and again. The WH question word, the who, what, where, when, why comes first in the question, and then the second word is going to be that do, be, can, will, etc. Okay, so this is just to practice the order of these words in the question, because it's really very important. Okay, si no usas la orden correcta con las preguntas, o si no usas correctamente la segunda palabra, do, can, be, will, etc., tu pregunta, aunque sea comprensible, no va a sonar bien. O sea, va a sonar un poco raro. ¿Ok? Entonces, si puedes recordar la orden, primero WH question word, primero who, what, where, when, why, etc. Después do, can, be, okay, como sea, then your question is going to sound good, people will understand you better, okay? And questions are not the easiest thing in English, okay? So if this is a little complicated or a little difficult for you to understand, don't worry, okay? Poco a poco, paso a paso, okay? Este tema es un poco más avanzado, tal vez, y si tienes que empezar con algo más sencillo al principio, está bien, ¿ok? No te desesperes, ¿ok? You're going to get this little by little, ¿ok? Quería presentar este tema, pero sí es un tema un poco más avanzado, un poco más complicado, así que si te parece un poco difícil o complicado, tranquilo, ok, todo con tiempo, alright, don't worry, just relax, you'll get it, okay. So we have when, why, and the last one, how. Okay, how is the only WH question word that does not start with WH. Okay, we call these the WH question words, but we also include the word how. Okay, how, cómo. And how, obviously, HOW does not start with WH, but it's still part of this group of question words. So, for example, how do you take your coffee is a common question. How do. Okay, how do you take your coffee? Black. Okay, do you take your coffee black? That means no sugar, no cream. Or with cream, with sugar, with cream and sugar. Okay, I take my coffee with cream and sugar. So that's how I take my coffee. And the very easy, basic question, how are you? Right? You hear how are. Okay, that's a be verb. How are you? Okay, now you remember from last week the word what could combine with other words, and how is similar in that way because we often combine other words with how. For example, how many or how much. Okay, so first we say how many, and then we add the do or be or can. Okay, so how many cats do you have? Okay, or how many cars do you have? Okay, so we say a combination or a group of words together with how many cars, and then we add do. How many cars do you have? Okay, or how much, like when you're asking about the cost of something. How much was your TV? How much is the apartment? Okay, how much does it cost? So how much, and then the be or the do. How strong are you? Sometimes my husband will ask my 3-year-old son, how strong are you? Show me how strong you are. Show me your muscle. Okay, so then he'll say, I'm this strong. How strong are you? So many words that you can combine with how strong, how big is the apartment? How big is the moon? Okay, how big is the ocean? Okay, so many words that you can combine or join together with how, just like with the word what that we learned last week. Okay, so I will finish there today. Remember that if you have not joined the weekly English challenge, I would love for you to join. Okay, cada semana yo envío el video nuevo junto con una tarea que acompañe el video, el tema del video, y lo envío por Facebook Messenger o WhatsApp. Ok, y tú decides cómo lo quieres recibir y te inscribes y listo. Okay, so that's the weekly English challenge. I will put a link down in the comments if you would like to sign up to join. Okay, hope you have a wonderful week. I'll see you back next Wednesday for a live class, and we'll be talking more about questions. See you next week.